because there are many countries who need help, and the only one that could help them is the rich countries. So before we start, I would like countries that are considered lacking in terms of its economy, infrastructure and industrial base, and the definition of help. To give or provide what is necessary to accomplish a task or to satisfy a need. So, our criteria for today's motion is leveling up to the role model, which means that the rich countries are the role models for the poor countries, and the poor countries are looking up to them. Our first argument is putting on feet in economical development. You could do that in 3 ways, which are money aid, military aid, and food aid. Rich countries could help poor ones financially by giving them money to satisfy their needs. Military, they could send them some help during the war, and food by giving food, for example, the United Nations Food and Agriculture Organization estimates that about 795 million people of the 7.3 billion people in the world, or 1 in 9 were suffering from chronic undernourishment in 2014 to 2016. Almost all the hungry people, 780 million, live in developing countries, representing 12.9%, or 1 in 8 of the population of developing countries. There are 11 million people undernourished in developed countries. Also, if all the billionaires in the world put together all their money, they could cover all of the poorness in Africa. So, our second argument is putting on feet in medical development. You could do that by giving equipment in emergencies. Poor countries can't afford equipment such as X-rays. You really need X-rays for different body parts that could be broken, or, for example, if someone has a brain tumor, for the X-ray to see where that brain tumor is. And nowadays, this is very, very expensive. Also, medicine is very expensive nowadays. So the rich countries should send that to poor countries to help them, to save other people's lives. Since the poor countries can't afford it, many people die in that country, and if rich countries send that to them, send their supplies to them, the percentage of deaths could meaningfully decrease. In emergency situations such as earthquakes, volcano eruptions, etc., rich countries should send volunteers and specialists to help all of those suffering people to rebuild their homes, to medically help them, as I already said, and help those in need. So, in the end, I would like to refer to a very well-known quote, which is, "Give a man a fish and feed him for a day. Teaches a man to fish and feed himself for a living." Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen, our honorable judges, timekeeper, our opponents and audience. First, let me introduce myself and the speakers of oppositional team. My name is Anifia. I'm the first speaker of oppositional team. The second speaker is Simur, and the third speaker is Alim. Before starting our first speech, we want to give you a structure. Firstly, I will say the motion, and then you'll heard a criterion and refutation. After all this, I will give you our strong arguments. So, the motion. The motion of our debate today is: this House believes that rich countries shouldn't keep pets, shouldn't help poor countries. And we, as the oppositional team, will prove you that this statement isn't true. Also, we agree with the definitions of propositional team. Well, the criterion of our team is well-being of the country is a task of the country. So, during hundreds of years, governments of the countries were wondering, should we help poor countries or not? I want to give you a quotation mark of the popularist man in the world, Benjamin Franklin. He said that God helped the one who helps himself. which means that everyone needs to help himself, and that your problems are nobody's fault at all. So this quotation marks applies to our first argument. Government is responsible for the well-being of its people, which means that if you can care about your country, your people, it's your country or your people, it's only your problem. You both the country to such unbalanced situation, and it's nobody's fault, only yours. So it's not an obligation of rich countries to help poor ones.
Please.
Yes.
Did I understand correctly? Did you say that it's the poor countries' problems that they are suffering from diseases and hunger?
Yes, it's only their problems because when the world became, everyone have the same chances. And for example, some countries don't take their chance as, for example, another country. So it's only their fault. So it's not an obligation of rich countries to help poor ones. The rich country can choose what country it wants to help or not. Aristotle said life requires movement. So if the country wants to be rich, it needs to move. And how many minutes I have?
3.
So I want to give you a refutation. First speaker of oppositional team said that give a fish to a man, he has a lunch for a day. Teach a man to fish, he has a lunch every day. Here, as I understand, you means that we need to help poor ones to give them fish. But if we give them fish, for example, for one day, they won't be able to catch a fish by themselves. So we need to them teach how to fish, but not give them a fish. Yes.
That is still giving help. That is giving them knowledge of how to fish.
And also I want to give you the example on Darwin's theory. So this is the Darwin's theory, and this is rich countries need to help poor ones. So Darwin. The Darwin said that some species of animals can't live because they have a small immunity, and another has more strong immunity. And if a more strong immunity will help the more unstrong immunity, this first immunity can't be able to do his immunity by themselves. So we need to give a chance for countries to do everything by themselves. So we can transform this theory to our motion. So in conclusion, I'd like to say that our team is that a criterion of our team is well-being of the country, is a task of the country. So we give you strong arguments which were supported by real facts. Thank you for listening.
Good morning, dear ladies and gentlemen, dear judge, dear audience, and our dear opponents. So I'm the second speaker of the opposition team. My name is Gleb. So we are here to debate on a very important motion that rich countries should help poor ones, and we truly believe that it's so. So firstly, I want to start with refutation to our opponents. So they say that it's a fault of nobody but poor countries that they are suffering. But don't you know that there are a lot of situations where rich countries kill poor ones because of money or because of resources, and poor ones, it's not the fault of poor ones. And also there was some historic moments when poor ones had no chance to improve the skills to make the situation inside better. So also I want to say that it's
Point.
it's parallel obtains muscle. So firstly, we must give we must cover all physiological needs of poor countries. Then we must give them safety. And only after we will cover the physiological needs and give them safety, then they improve themselves, because they have all they need. And maybe they will become a rich country and give a lot of results and make maybe some invention and develop themselves. No thanks. So I want to continue our argumentation line that we must just leveling up, or that's putting fit in educational development. So we must put the poor ones on educational level, give them an opportunity to teach their people, and maybe then people that
Point.
no. Then people that became clever because of educational system will make country better, will make country rich, and that's why we truly believe that we must put and feed poor countries in educational development. Yes.
You said that there's a lot of countries that help another. For example, USA helps them.
Can you repeat your point?
You said there is a lot that we must, rich countries must help poor ones. But there's a lot of example. There rich countries help poor ones. Can you give me an example when poor ones, when economic or poor country increase? Thank you.
So, but you didn't give me an example when rich countries help poor ones.
I said USA to Africa.
You're not allowed.
So I want to continue, and we truly believe that we must give all that we must give. We must put and feed poor countries in educational development, in medical development, in economical development. So that's why. Yes.
Can you give me in the beginning you said that some of countries don't have a chance to develop. Can you give me
Africa. So in Africa was separated from all over the world. They can't communicate with England, they can't communicate with France, they can't communicate with Russian Empire, they can't communicate with Germany, they can't communicate with USA them. So, and Africa was separated. Yes, there was the pygmies and what, so they were separated, they have no chance to develop. They have no educational system, because when all countries were improving themselves, Africa was separated from all of them, and they have no chance to improve themselves. So, and we truly believe that if we will teach a man to fish, he will fish himself for a living, and if we teach a country and put on feed country in educational, medical and economical development, it will improve itself. Thank you for attention.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, our honorable judges, timekeeper, and our opponents. I'm the second speaker of opposition team, Timur. Today we are here on debate on a motion that this House believes that rich countries must help poor ones, and we, the opposition team, absolutely disagree with this point of view. Our criterion sounds like our criterions sounds like I will give you criteria soon. Now I wanna give you my arguments. My first argument sounds like corruption. In some cases, the help of rich countries, of course, I said about money, can
Point, please.
Okay.
Give me an example when some rich countries help to poor ones, and poor ones become corrupted because of their help.
I'm really sorry, but example is our first speaker can give you all examples.
Third.
So about corruption, there is a lot of example in history when this corruption happened. I want to give you a definition of word corruption. Corruption is abuse of obligation, power, or to selfish denial. Well, my third argument sounds like sorry. Oh, here it is. My third argument sounds like it's wrong to allow outsiders to influence the development of a country. It can lead to big problems. So in some cases the donor countries can be obligated by recipient countries, because this economic of this country can't live without money and help of the rich countries, and that's why some countries, some rich countries might have an interest to a poor one. For example, in Africa there is a lot of in South Africa there is a lot of diamond mines, and then the King Leopold knew about it. He came to Africa, and his army killed about 10,000 of people. Okay?
What is the source of your information?
It's a history fact. And now I want to give you a refutation. So the second speaker of proposition team said about we should give a country help, so it's safety, psychology, money, or something else. But in fact, then we give a country money or maybe safety. This country, if this help stopped, this country will be, I don't know. Okay.
Why do you think so?
Okay. I can tell you. I can give you example. For example, a man who is
Dependent. Who is dependent?
dependent by drugs can't leave without drugs, and the same is to the country. In conclusion, I would like to say that we are disagree with proposition point of view, and rich countries shouldn't help poor countries, because it will be just a big minus for poor countries. Thank you.
Good afternoon, dear ladies and gentlemen. I am the first speaker of proposition team. My name is Nastya, and today our topic is this House believes that rich countries should help poor ones, and we absolutely support this opinion. Firstly, I'll give refutation to our opponent. Our opponent said that poor countries which get help from rich countries are like people who are dependent from drugs. Why did you decide that help like a drug? It's just a push from rich countries. It's just a motivation to poor countries to improve themselves. Our criterion is give a man a fish and feed them for a day. Teach a man to fish and feed them for a living. Our arguments were putting on feed in economical development, putting on feed in medical development, and in education. Rich countries can give some military equipment. In some country, if some country is poor and weak, strong and rich countries can see it and try to be at war with poor countries. Rich countries should help. For example, as we said, by military equipment. We want to say that if rich country helps poor ones, it doesn't slow down. Yes, rich country can give money, some equipment, but it never would slow down, because it's already strong and rich. And for rich country, 10 or 20 millions don't don't mean too much. So we really think that rich countries should help poor ones. Our second argument was putting on feet in medical development. Rich countries can help poor ones giving them medical supplies. Germany repeatedly helps poor ones by medical supplies. And it doesn't mean that if Germany helps in medicine poor countries, level of medicine in Germany will be lower. Our third argument was putting on feet in educational development. A lot of universities all over the world offer programs of education for students from poor countries. It's a great possibility to show young people good example and give them motivation. It's the type of help to poor ones from rich countries. When rich countries give poor ones some specialists to show people who live there how to do something in their country better. Rich countries can also invite people, how we have already said, from poor countries to show them higher level of life. Also, rich countries, when poor countries suffers from natural diseases, rich countries can send there some doctors or rescue teams. So help from rich countries can be different, and we really think that rich countries must help poor countries because it's really important. So our criteria is give a man a fish and feed them for a day, teach a man to fish and feed them for a living. Thank you for attention.
So good day, ladies and gentlemen, our honorable judges, timekeeper, and our opponents. So today we're discussing on a motion that sounds like this House believes rich countries should help poor ones. But we, as a opposition team, are here to prove that this statement is wrong, and we are right. Firstly, I would like to give you our criterion. Our criterion is well-being of a country is a task of this country. So now I want to give you our refutation for arguments that were given from our opponents from proposition team. Firstly, the second speaker said that there are many countries that have no chance to develop themselves, but he didn't give us any evidences. And secondly, third speaker said that help isn't like a drug, but poor countries
Get used.
but poor countries get used to the help of rich ones, and then they depends on their help. And I want to give some truthful evidences and facts that will prove our statement. Angus Dilton, professor of economic faculty in Princeton University, which studied about poverty in India and South Africa, took a Nobel Prize for a work, research about how poor countries make decisions how to waste or save their money. So Dilton proved that the most of $135,000 that rich countries wasted for developing poor ones didn't bring any help. Also, many scientists that supported Dilton gave dozens of examples.
Give me the source, please.
Source?
Source.
It's a very famous scientist, professor, and he took a Nobel Prize for his work. Also, many scientists that supported Dilton gave dozens of examples where humanitarian help used for supporting poor countries only enhance poverty. In countries like Zaire, Rwanda, Ethiopia, Somali, Biafra, and the Khmer Rouge in border of Thailand and Cambodia. The third evidence is a shining example. The world history has said our second speaker, when Belgian King Leopold II destroyed 10 million African people. So he heard that there is a big amount of diamonds, and it all started in a geographic conference where we're discussing Leopold's offers about connecting this African people to modern community, and he thought that it would be great when native African people will be immortalized, but it was like July. And but he didn't consider it necessary to build hospitals or even health centers to these African peoples, and there were many epidemics in different regions that took away 2 million of Congolese lives, but the king wanted only diamonds. So, in conclusion, I like to say that we using very strong arguments, facts and evidences, proved to you that we are right and our statement is true. Thank you.
The reply speech of the opposition team.
Good morning one more time. Our motion is: this House believes that rich countries shouldn't help poor ones. So we, as the opposition team, have proved you that this statement isn't true. The definitions and criterion of our resolutions were given in our first speech. Our main goal was successfully completed. Speakers of our team confidently provided disputable arguments which you heard during a game. And now I want to give you some clash points. So, the first clash point. The point of our team sounded like, can you give me any example when poor countries becomes richer after help? The opposite team said yes, Africa, but we wanted to say that as we know from lessons of history, Africa was relieved, and then it had chances to do everything one more time. So the second clash point sounded like. Just 1 second. The point of our speaker was, can you give me any examples when poor country became more richer after help? And our speaker said that we already given the examples that sound like USA helped Africa, and Africa didn't become more richer now, as we can see. And so, in conclusion, I'd like to repeat our criterion. So our criterion sounded like, our team is well-being of the country, is a task of the country. Thank you for listening.
Good morning again. My name is Isabel. I am the first, and I will be giving the reply speech of the proposition team. I'd like to thank you for this very amazing game. It was very fascinating, and I would like to get to the main clash point. I asked if it was their problems that the poor countries were suffering. You said that yes, it's their own problems. So, because the country cannot afford some medical help, or cannot afford food, or doesn't have food, it is their fault that they can't do that. You said that everyone started at the same level. There's no such thing as the same level, because every continent had different resources. Some has more, some has less, and some of those poor countries are the ones that actually had less resources. Also, you said that a million years ago, the continents were much closer together, so that just couldn't happen. Okay, so you also said that help is like a drug. The help is not like a drug, it's just that little push of motivation. As our second speaker said, of this pyramid. It goes like physiological help, safety, then it goes love, belonging, esteem, and self-actualization. So without these two, they can't continue the rest of the pyramid. So without physiological problems, the safety, they can't get it. So we need to give them the first 2 steps in which they could help themselves in the future. That is just a little tiny help, it's a little push, it's not a drug. Also, your second speaker, promised our second speaker examples in his teammate's third speech, and we didn't seem to hear those examples. So now I would like to give our arguments again and our criteria. So our criteria was leveling up to the role model. First argument, put on feet in economical development. Second argument, put on feet in medical development. And our third argument was putting on feet in educational development. And I would also, again, like to thank you for this very interesting game. And we would like to finish with the quote that we finished in all our speeches, which is, give a man a fish and feed him for a day, teaches a man 2 fish and feed himself for a living. Thank you very much.